Humanity has always looked at the sky with questions burning brighter than the stars themselves. From a moment early humans first noticed wandering lights moving against the fixed constellations, a quiet realization took root. Earth might not be the final destination of intelligence. For thousands of years, this idea remained a dream expressed through myths, gods, and stories of celestial journeys. But in the modern age, that ancient curiosity has transformed into engineering, mathematics, and metal. At the center of this transformation stands a towering machine made of stainless steel, reflecting the sky like a mirror of human ambition. This machine is called Starship, and it represents the most radical attempt ever made to turn humanity into an interplanetary species. Starship is not simply a rocket. It is a declaration, a statement that humanity refuses to remain confined to a single fragile planet in an unforgiving universe. Designed and developed by SpaceX, Starship is the largest, most powerful launch vehicle ever conceived. Taller than the Statue of Liberty, heavier than any spacecraft before it, and capable of producing more thrust than all previous rockets combined, Starship challenges nearly every assumption about how space travel should work. Where traditional rockets were disposable and rare, Starship is designed to be fully reusable and frequently flown, much like an aircraft. This single design choice changes everything. For decades, space exploration was limited by cost. Each launch was an extraordinary event, destroying millions or even billions of dollars of hardware in minutes. This made space precious, slow, and exclusive. Starship is built to break that cycle. By returning both its booster and spacecraft to Earth for reuse, SpaceX aims to reduce launch costs by orders of magnitude. If successful, access to space will no longer be defined by scarcity, but by routine. What once required national budgets could become achievable for research, institutions, private companies, and eventually ordinary people. At the heart of Starship lies its propulsion system, the Raptor engine. Unlike earlier rocket engines, Raptor uses liquid methane and liquid oxygen, a combination chosen not just for performance, but for sustainability beyond Earth. Methane can be manufactured on Mars using carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere and hydrogen extracted from water ice. This means Starship is not just a vehicle that can reach Mars. It is a vehicle designed to leave Mars again. This single capability transforms Mars from a one-way destination into a place where civilization could take root. The scale of Starship is necessary because the task is unprecedented. Sending humans to another planet is not comparable to visiting the moon. Mars is months away, not days. Resupply missions are impossible once the journey begins. Every system must function reliably for long durations in deep space, exposed to radiation, isolation, and extreme thermal conditions. Starship is designed to carry over 100 tons of cargo or dozens of people in a single flight. Entire habitats, life support systems, power infrastructure, and scientific laboratories can be delivered in one launch. This is how planets are settled, not just explored. Starship's stainless steel body may appear unconventional, even primitive, compared to the sleek composites used by other spacecraft. But this choice is deliberate. Stainless steel performs exceptionally well at both cryogenic and high temperatures. It can survive atmospheric re-entry without fragile heat-resistant tiles across its entire surface, relying instead on a combination of thermal shielding and controlled aerodynamic descent. It is also cheaper, stronger, and easier to manufacture at scale. In the harsh economics of space travel, elegance must bow to survival and efficiency. Perhaps the most visually striking moment of Starship's flight is its return to Earth. Unlike traditional capsules that fall blunt-end first under parachutes, Starship performs a dramatic belly-first descent through the atmosphere, using its large surface area to bleed off speed. At the last possible moment, it flips upright, ignites its engines, and lands vertically with precision. This maneuver is not just a spectacle. It is the key to rapid reusability. Every successful landing brings spaceflight closer to routine. But Starship's true significance lies not in Earth orbit, nor even in Mars alone. It is a platform, a foundation upon which countless future missions can be built. Starship can deploy massive space telescopes far larger than anything currently possible, construct space stations in orbit, refuel other spacecraft, and even serve as a deep space transport hub. It enables missions to the Moon, Mars, asteroids, and eventually the outer planets. It is the infrastructure of a spacefaring civilization, not a single mission vehicle. Critics argue that Starship is too ambitious, too risky, and too dependent on unproven technologies. They point to explosions, delays, and regulatory challenges as evidence that the dream may fail. But history shows that every major leap in exploration came with setbacks. The first airplanes crashed. The first rockets exploded. Progress in space has always been written in fire before it was written in success. What matters is not perfection, but iteration. Starship is built on rapid testing, learning from failure, and constant refinement. Beyond the engineering, Starship represents a philosophical shift. It asks a profound question. What is the long-term future of humanity? Earth is beautiful, but it is finite. Asteroid impacts, supervolcanoes, climate instability, and cosmic events are not science fiction. They're geological facts. Becoming interplanetary is not about abandoning Earth. It is about preserving life itself. A civilization spread across multiple worlds is far more resilient than one confined to a single planet. As Starship continues its development, humanity stands at the edge of a transition as significant as the first ocean crossings or the first steps on a land. For the first time, the idea of living on another planet is no longer confined to imagination or distant centuries. It is being welded together today, piece by piece, engine by engine, launch by launch. Whether Starship ultimately succeeds or not, it has already changed how we think about our place in the universe. The dream of reaching Mars is one thing. The reality of sustaining life, there is another entirely. Starship is more than a rocket. It is a lifeboat, a mobile habitat designed to carry fragile human life across hundreds of millions of kilometers of empty space. A journey to Mars is not a mere weekend excursion. Depending on the positions of Earth and Mars in their respective orbits, a single trip could take 6 to 9 months one way. During this time, passengers will be confined to a pressurized metal cylinder, subject to weightlessness, radiation, and the psychological strain of isolation. Every system aboard Starship must operate flawlessly. Life support systems recycle air, water, and waste, while shielding and storm shelters guard against the invisible but deadly particles from the sun and cosmic rays from deep space. Every aspect of life is meticulously engineered to ensure survival, comfort, and the ability to function at full capacity when Mars is finally reached. Starship's immense cargo capacity allows more than just passengers to make the journey. It is capable of carrying enormous payloads essential for establishing the first human settlements on Mars. Habitats, solar arrays, power storage, excavation equipment, and scientific instruments can all be delivered in a single launch. This is a radical departure from the Apollo era, when sending a few humans to the Moon required multiple missions and massive coordination. With Starship, a single coordinated launch campaign could provide the foundational infrastructure for an entire Martian colony, creating the scaffolding for a civilization that may one day number in the tens of thousands. One of the key innovations enabling this vision is orbital refueling. Starship is designed to rendezvous with tanker versions of itself in low Earth orbit, transferring fuel and oxidizer before embarking on the long journey to Mars. This technique allows a single Starship to lift massive payloads without being limited by the rocket equation, the physical law that has constrained space exploration since its inception. By refueling in orbit, SpaceX turns the challenge of carrying hundreds of tons into a solvable logistical operation, opening the door to unprecedented interplanetary missions. Life aboard Starship during the journey to Mars presents unique challenges. Humans are creatures of gravity, accustomed to Earth's constant pull. In microgravity, muscles and bones weaken, the heart adjusts, and even vision can be affected. Long-duration spaceflight requires rigorous exercise regimens, medical monitoring, and carefully designed living spaces to mitigate these effects. Engineers and scientists have studied these problems for decades, drawing lessons from the International Space Station, but Starship presents a far more ambitious scenario. The psychological element is just as crucial. Crew members must cope with isolation, limited privacy, and the unrelenting awareness that Earth is a distant, shrinking dot in the void. The red planet itself is a harsh, unyielding environment. Mars has an average temperature of -60 degrees Celsius, a thin carbon dioxide atmosphere, and dust storms that can envelop the entire planet for weeks. Starship's payloads must include not only habitats and power systems, but also methods for producing food, water, and breathable air locally. SpaceX envisions using in-situ resource utilization, a strategy that turns Martian soil, ice, and atmosphere into fuel, water, oxygen, and building materials. The goal is to create a self-sustaining outpost that does not rely on a constant stream of supplies from Earth, a fundamental requirement if humanity is to survive and thrive on another world. Starship's stainless steel design provides more than durability during re-entry. It also plays a role in thermal management on Mars. During entry, descent, and landing, Starship must decelerate from hypersonic speeds, shedding enormous amounts of kinetic energy. Unlike smaller, lighter landers that rely on parachutes alone, Starship uses its body as a giant air brake, performing controlled flips and burns to achieve a soft touchdown. The lander's massive surface area distributes heat and stress, while its engines provide precision control in the thin Martian atmosphere. Every maneuver must be executed flawlessly. There is no second chance on a planet millions of kilometers from home. Beyond Mars, Starship's potential extends deeper into the solar system. Its payload capacity and reusability make it an ideal platform for missions to asteroids, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and even the outer planets. Massive telescopes could be deployed far beyond Earth's light pollution. Scientific probes could reach the farthest corners of the system, and even resource harvesting operations could become feasible. Starship is not just a vessel. It is a multi-purpose tool for exploration, science, and eventually commerce on an interplanetary scale. Yet, for all its promise, Starship represents a profound gamble. Each flight carries technical risk. Every launch tests the limits of current knowledge in propulsion, materials science, and human factors. Explosions, setbacks, and failures are expected, yet each iteration brings engineers closer to perfection. Elon Musk often emphasizes that progress is built on repeated testing, learning, and refinement. The audacity of Starship lies not in its existence alone, but in the philosophy it embodies. Humanity will not wait for perfect conditions. It will create them, even if that means falling repeatedly along the way. Ultimately, Starship is a bridge between the present and a future that was once inconceivable. It transforms Mars from a distant, lifeless world into a potential second home, and it reshapes the very definition of human possibility. It asks the question that has always haunted explorers. What are we willing to risk for the chance to exist beyond our cradle? The answer lies in the steel, fire, and ambition of a machine that is as much a symbol as it is a tool. Starship is the vessel of hope, the tangible expression of a dream humanity has carried for millennia, to reach, to explore, and eventually to live among the stars. Starship is more than a vessel for interplanetary travel. It is the backbone of a nascent space infrastructure that could support humanity across the solar system. To sustain repeated missions to Mars or beyond, Earth orbit operations must evolve from the infrequent launches of the past into a bustling network of spacecraft, refueling stations, and orbital logistics hubs. Starship's reusability enables this paradigm shift. Instead of discarding massive rockets after a single mission, SpaceX envisions fleets of starships routinely launching, docking, refueling, and delivering payloads both to low Earth orbit and onward to the Moon, Mars, or asteroids. Each launch becomes a building block in a growing interplanetary supply chain, transforming space from a distant frontier into an active domain of human activity. Orbital refueling is one of the most critical innovations in this network. Starship tankers, carrying liquid methane and liquid oxygen, rendezvous with crewed or cargo starships in low Earth orbit, transferring fuel before they begin the long interplanetary journey. This procedure allows a single starship to lift enormous payloads far beyond the limitations of traditional rockets, which must carry all their fuel from the ground. This orbital refueling not only extends range, but also introduces flexibility. Missions can be staged in orbit, emergency returns can be more feasible, and larger colonies or infrastructure modules can be transported in fewer launches. It is a revolution comparable to building the first ports and refueling stations along terrestrial trade routes. Starship also lays the groundwork for permanent orbital infrastructure. Space stations far larger and more capable than the International Space Station could be constructed entirely with Starship-delivered modules. Massive telescopes, solar power arrays, and communication networks could be assembled in orbit, creating platforms that expand scientific understanding, industry, and interplanetary communication. In this vision, Earth is no longer the sole center of human activity. Orbit itself becomes a hub, a staging ground, and a bridge to other worlds. The ultimate destination for many Starship missions is Mars. Establishing a human presence there is not a trivial task. The planet is hostile, with temperatures that plummet below -100 degrees Celsius at night, a thin carbon dioxide atmosphere incapable of supporting human life, and dust storms that can blanket the planet for months. Starship missions must transport not only people but the means to survive and thrive: habitats, life support systems, food production units, power sources, and vehicles for exploration. Each element must be robust, modular, and designed to operate independently if required. Early Martian settlers will be engineers, scientists, and problem solvers, forced to innovate constantly in an environment that will not forgive mistakes. In-situ resource utilization is a cornerstone of these settlements. Starship delivers equipment to extract water from ice deposits, convert carbon dioxide into oxygen and methane, and produce building materials from local soil. This capability reduces dependency on Earth, making Martian colonies increasingly self-sufficient. The vision extends beyond survival. It includes expansion. Habitats can grow, agricultural modules can multiply, and infrastructure can evolve to support larger populations. Mars, once a distant red, becomes a canvas for human ingenuity and perseverance. Human life during interplanetary journeys and on Mars requires more than technology. It demands careful attention to psychology and social dynamics. The isolation and confinement of long-duration spaceflight can exacerbate stress, anxiety, and interpersonal tension. Starship designs include living quarters that maximize space efficiency, communal areas for social interaction, and private spaces for solitude. Structured routines, exercise programs, and entertainment options are all essential to maintain mental health and crew cohesion. The success of interplanetary travel is as dependent on human adaptability as on engineering prowess. Starship's potential extends far beyond Mars. The spacecraft could enable exploration of the asteroid belt, providing access to resources such as metals, water, and other materials vital for future space industry. Missions to the moons of Jupiter and Saturn could carry scientific instruments to study environments never before visited by humans. Starship could also deploy vast arrays of telescopes and observatories far from Earth, opening new windows into the universe. Its combination of payload capacity, reusability, and interplanetary range transforms exploration from isolated missions into sustained, continuous campaigns. Despite these possibilities, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Technical failures, environmental hazards, and the unpredictable nature of space are constant threats. Starship's engines, heat shielding, life support systems, and orbital operations must operate flawlessly under extreme conditions. Yet history demonstrates that ambitious exploration has always carried risk. The first ocean voyages, the first powered flights, the Apollo missions, all faced uncertainty, danger, and repeated setbacks. Starship represents the same spirit: bold, imperfect, iterative, and ultimately transformative. Ultimately, Starship is not just a vehicle. It is the foundation for a new era of human civilization. It bridges the gap between imagination and reality, turning Mars and the solar system into achievable destinations. It forces humanity to think beyond borders, politics, and planetary limits, asking profound questions about survival, curiosity, and purpose. Every launch, every test, every landing is a step toward a future in which humans are no longer confined to Earth, but roam among the stars. Starship embodies the audacity to build that future, reflecting both the fragility and resilience of life in the cosmos. The dream of interplanetary civilization does not end with landing on Mars. It begins there. Starship is the vessel that brings humanity to the planet, but the work of turning Mars into a livable world extends far beyond arrival. Terraforming, or the gradual transformation of a planet's environment to support Earth-like life, is a distant but conceivable goal. Early efforts will focus on creating habitable zones within domed habitats or underground bunkers shielded from radiation and dust storms. These initial colonies will rely heavily on Starship for transportation of people, machinery, and supplies, acting as lifelines between Earth and Mars. Every ton of material delivered contributes to the creation of self-sustaining human outposts, slowly expanding the footprint of civilization on the Red Planet. Starship's ability to transport massive payloads enables the deployment of large-scale infrastructure that would be impossible with smaller rockets. Solar power stations, life support modules, water extraction equipment, and agricultural units can be delivered in a single launch, providing the building blocks for expanding colonies. In-situ resource utilization remains critical. Producing oxygen, fuel, water, and building materials from local resources reduces dependency on Earth and accelerates the process of self-sufficiency. Starship's reusability means that each mission becomes more cost-effective, gradually turning Mars into a place where humans can survive, thrive, and reproduce. The psychological and social dynamics of Martian colonies will shape the long-term success of humanity off Earth. Starship missions will initially carry teams of engineers, scientists, and specialists accustomed to high-pressure environments. Social cohesion, leadership structures, and conflict resolution will be essential for survival. As colonies grow, they will need schools, governance systems, medical facilities, and entertainment, an entire societal ecosystem. Starship is not just a vehicle for travel. It is the lifeline that carries the people and the cultural building blocks necessary to transform a barren planet into a functioning society. Beyond survival, Starship facilitates exploration and scientific advancement. Mars holds countless mysteries, evidence of ancient water, the possibility of microbial life, unique geological formations, and a record of the solar system's history locked in rock and ice. Starship's cargo capacity allows the delivery of laboratories, rovers, and analytical instruments to conduct experiments in situ. These missions will not only answer questions about Mars, but also improve understanding of Earth, space, and the processes that shape planetary evolution. The spacecraft is simultaneously a vehicle of colonization and a vessel of knowledge, bridging ambition and science. Interplanetary trade, powered by Starship, is a future possibility that could reshape economics in the solar system. Resources from Mars, asteroids, and moons could be transported back to Earth or used in orbit to construct spacecraft, habitats, or energy stations. Starship enables this logistical network, turning space into a domain of commerce and industry. The early Martian colonies could become hubs for innovation, experimenting with technologies that would be impossible on Earth. Starship not only carries people and goods, but also carries the potential for economic independence, scientific breakthroughs, and the creation of new markets beyond the confines of our planet. As colonies expand, Starship's role evolves. It is no longer just a transporter, but a foundation for continuous human presence. Regular flights maintain supply chains, provide crew rotation, and expand infrastructure. The possibility of constructing orbital depots and refueling stations between Earth and Mars further extends the spacecraft's utility. With each successful mission, humanity takes another step toward a future where interplanetary travel is routine rather than exceptional. The spacecraft becomes the backbone of a civilization capable of operating across worlds, a testament to engineering, foresight, and ambition. The vision extends beyond Mars to the outer planets and even the moons of the solar system. Titan, Europa, Ganymede, and other celestial bodies may one day host research stations, resource extraction operations, or even human outposts. Starship's payload capacity, reusability, and interplanetary range make these distant objectives feasible in ways that were inconceivable a generation ago. Starship turns science fiction into operational possibility, bridging the gap between imagination and engineering reality. Yet Starship also embodies a philosophical and existential challenge. It forces humanity to confront the fragility of life on Earth and the necessity of expanding beyond it. A civilization limited to one planet is vulnerable to extinction from asteroid impacts, climate crises, or other cosmic events. By establishing a presence on Mars and elsewhere, humans dramatically increase their resilience. Starship is not simply a technological marvel. It is a lifeboat for civilization, an insurance policy written in steel, fire, and ambition. Ultimately, Starship represents the culmination of centuries of human curiosity, ingenuity, and courage. It is the vehicle by which humanity steps beyond its cradle, explores distant worlds, and begins the slow, deliberate process of spreading life throughout the solar system. Each launch, each landing, each payload delivered contributes to a story that began with the first gazes at the stars and continues toward a future where humans are truly interplanetary. Starship is both symbol and tool, a bridge between what we are and what we can become, a testament to the enduring human spirit and its capacity to dream, build, and endure among the stars. Starship is not merely a technological achievement. It is the first tangible step toward a civilization that spans multiple worlds. The long-term vision extends far beyond the first colonies on Mars. Imagine cities under domes, networks of habitats connected by tunnels or pressurized pathways, and orbital platforms providing power, communication, and transportation. Starship is the lifeline connecting Earth to this emerging network, ensuring that supplies, personnel, and knowledge continue to flow across the void. In doing so, it transforms interplanetary presence from a dream into a sustainable reality. A multi-planetary civilization reshapes humanity's understanding of survival, economy, and culture. Starship enables redundancy on a planetary scale. Life no longer depends solely on the fragile balance of Earth's ecosystem. Humans can endure cosmic catastrophes, natural disasters, and other existential threats by having settlements beyond our home planet. This decentralization is both practical and philosophical, altering the perception of vulnerability and fostering a long-term perspective on the continuation of intelligent life. Starship is not just a vehicle. It is a safeguard, a vessel carrying the seeds of resilience across space. The sustainability of such a civilization hinges on Starship's reusability and capacity. By enabling frequent missions, the spacecraft ensures that resources, equipment, and personnel are continuously rotated and replenished. It allows experimentation in living systems, agriculture, energy generation, and construction in alien environments. Over time, these lessons accumulate, forming a knowledge base critical to adapting human life to worlds previously considered uninhabitable. Every Starship launch becomes an iteration in the evolution of humanity's interplanetary strategy. Interplanetary travel also raises profound ethical and philosophical questions. Humanity must consider the implications of spreading life to other worlds. What responsibilities do we hold toward extraterrestrial environments, even if lifeless? How should governance, law, and culture evolve in societies separated by millions of kilometers of space? Starship is the technological bridge to these questions, providing the means to act while forcing careful deliberation. It embodies the intersection of engineering prowess and moral responsibility, demonstrating that every launch is not just a scientific or economic endeavor, but a philosophical one. Starship also redefines the relationship between exploration and innovation. Missions to Mars, asteroids, or moons generate technological advancements that benefit life on Earth. Life support systems, radiation shielding, propulsion innovations, and sustainable energy solutions developed for space travel have direct applications in challenging environments on our planet. Starship thus becomes a catalyst for progress, proving that the pursuit of interplanetary civilization simultaneously drives terrestrial advancement. The dream of reaching the stars is inseparable from improving life at home. The journey of Starship is iterative, marked by both spectacular successes and dramatic failures. Each launch, landing, and test flight serves as a lesson in what is possible and what needs refinement. Explosions and setbacks are not endpoints but milestones, evidence of a process that embraces risk to achieve unprecedented outcomes. Humanity has always advanced through trial and error, from early seafaring to powered flight. Starship continues this tradition on a cosmic scale. Its repeated flights encode a philosophy that daring, resilience, and adaptability are the essence of progress. In the long term, Starship's contribution may extend beyond Mars. It opens the possibility of permanent human presence throughout the solar system, including resource extraction, scientific exploration, and eventually settlement of moons, asteroids, and even exoplanets in nearby star systems. It turns interstellar ambition from a fantastical idea into a tangible trajectory. While these goals may lie centuries in the future, Starship lays the foundation, creating the infrastructure, knowledge, and experience necessary to sustain humanity on an interplanetary scale. Ultimately, Starship is a symbol of what humans can achieve when curiosity, ingenuity, and courage converge. It is more than metal and engines. It is a vessel of hope, carrying the essence of humanity into the unknown. Each flight represents a step in a journey that began with the first gaze of the stars and will continue until humans are no longer confined to one fragile planet. Starship embodies the enduring human desire to explore, to expand, and to endure, ensuring that the story of life on Earth becomes the story of life among the stars. The future of humanity depends not only on technology, but on imagination, courage, and perseverance. Starship provides the vehicle, the means, and the vision, but it is humanity itself that must seize the opportunity. By daring to leave Earth, to explore Mars, and to build a civilization that spans worlds, humans affirm a principle as old as civilization itself. Survival is not enough. To thrive, to endure, to dream, and to explore is the true destiny of intelligent life. Starship is the vessel that makes that destiny possible, forging a path into the universe that will carry the story of humanity far beyond the cradle of Earth. From Earth to Mars and beyond, Starship is more than steel and fire. It is humanity's vessel of hope, a bridge to worlds once unreachable. Each launch, each landing, and each journey into the void brings us closer to becoming an interplanetary civilization. It carries not just people and cargo, but dreams, ingenuity, and a relentless spirit of exploration. With Starship, we step beyond our cradle, confront the unknown, and affirm that the story of life on Earth is only the beginning of a journey among the stars.